Hi friends, another day, another big moment here. I'm Erica from the marketing department. Welcome back to our Facebook Live. We had all sorts of plans this morning and then of course changed everything just after 7 a.m. when the rest of you did. So we hope you're home and safe. But we do want to check in with you and let you know what's happening up at the zoo and how do we prepare for an earthquake and what are some of the steps that we take and what about these beasts behind me, right? So I just wanted you guys to know animals are all present and accounted for and everything looks great up here at the zoo. So I do want to flip this around and introduce you to Jeff Landry.
Hi guys.
You've seen Jeff Landry before in many of our Facebook Lives and we're standing back here. Can I step forward a little bit?
Yeah, good to go.
Okay. So tell us a little, now you help on some of our emergency response stuff here at the zoo.
Correct.
And this is the type of thing we train for and take very seriously.
Yes, correct. But before we talk anything about that, I want to interject that Nora is okay. Nora is okay.
You know the question's coming.
Yes, it is. How is Norma?
Nora is fine.
Yeah, so as Erica says, we do practice quite a bit. We do drills or emergency drills a lot. And strangely enough, we just did a zoo-wide earthquake drill last month where we practiced for just what we had today, an earthquake. So basically what our process is our number one priority is the safety of the public, and then it's the safety of the staff, and then it's the safety of the animals. Since it was at 7:09, 7:10 this morning, we didn't have any public on grounds, and then we're closed. Obviously, we didn't have any public on grounds. So what one of the curators did, who was the early curator, they set up the DART, or Disaster Aftermath Response Team, in our animal care building. And basically from there, using the radio, they sent out teams to check on all the dangerous animal exhibits. We want to make sure that everything's contained. Even though the earthquake up on this east side wasn't that big of a thing, we still want to make sure that all of the exhibit surety is there. So she set out a bunch of teams via radio to go check this. And luckily everything came back as okay. But what we decided to do, that any of the dangerous animals that have glass-fronted exhibits, we're going to pull them off. So that's why the polar bears are here the grizzly bears and the polar bears on the other side.
This is big boy Coda.
That's Coda.
And Dolly and Lulu were out roaming around,
yep.
but that's why we're back here behind the scenes in the mesh area.
Yep, correct. So what we did is we pulled any of the animals that are dangerous animals that have glass-fronted exhibits, so our maintenance team can have a little bit of time. You don't want to hurry during these things, so they can have a little bit of time to actually go through and inspect. Okay, the glass looks good.
So Jeff, I think it's important to note, of course, we live in earthquake country, so all the exhibits are designed with that in mind.
100%.
So we feel very confident about it, but like you said, that's not something we want to rush through.
Yeah, exactly. It's like if you have airbags in your car, which every car does nowadays, that doesn't mean you don't wear your seatbelt. So the same thing, we want to check it and make it. So our maintenance guys went around, they checked all the utilities, no gas line leaks, exhibit surety, water line leaks, everything like that. So we're just about to the phase where we're going to start hopefully releasing animals back to the exhibits. But you can see they don't actually mind being back here too much. It's a good little yeah.
It's actually okay, but there are some animals that did react to the earthquake. So the bears didn't seem to, they don't seem to care.
Not that we really knew, but we're going to go over to the small animal building. One of our keepers, Gwen, was over there, and most of the keeper staff usually comes in around 7:30, but Gwen's a 7 o'clock person, so she was down in the
She was already here.
Yeah, she was down in the small animal building, and the Meerkats had quite a reaction. So we're going to talk a little bit about that as we drive over there, and then Gwen's going to give them a little extra bit of fun. She's going to let them go out into the hallway, and hopefully they'll go out. They are a little wound up a little bit still from the shaking and the rattling.
Let's do that. So we'll say goodbye to Dolly, Coda, and Lulu. So again, we're behind the scenes of Rocky Shores because of, if you're just joining us, because of the earthquake last night. I just wanted to walk you through some of the zoo's earthquake preparedness. So first thing is perimeter checks. We have Brad, our getaway driver, over here. He's in the marketing department. Jeff's going to hop aboard. We're going to get in the golf cart. People like when we do these drive and talks.
Drive and talk.
Here we are.
It's
the party bus. It's the party bus. But the first thing we want to do is check all the perimeter of the dangerous animals. So right now, of course, the zoo's closed anyway, but none of the dangerous animals are out where there's glass. So we were back here with grizzly bears, checking in on them. Maintenance is going around doing perimeter checks of all the dangerous exhibits. A lot of you are asking how the animals did. I know a lot of your pets. Now, you guys both have pets. Did they react to the earthquake?
My wife just found one of our cats finally hiding underneath one of the
She's been looking for 2 hours now.
Yep.
Jeff wants to know who let Brad drive. Good question. Yeah, so a lot of your pets at home are probably felt the earthquake and reacted to it. Most of the animals up here did not seem to.
Yeah, strangely enough, the elephant keeper was out, and he was all of a sudden, he said, "What's going on?" He thought a big truck was driving by.
Yeah.
He looked over, and both elephants continued eating.
I called, which door are we going in, Jeff?
Yeah, this one right over here.
Okay.
Yeah.
I called all the animal areas, and they pretty much said most of the animals, elephants specifically, didn't budge. Giraffes, zebras didn't really react. But the little meerkats did. So Gwen was here. That's who we're going to pop in and check with because she said they were pretty nervous. And so maybe one of the things we can do for our pets at home is just maybe some added enrichment kind of things to help them calm down, right? Yep. That's what we're working on. So we'll flip this around so you can see the cute peafowl. I don't know if they reacted or not. There's a fox. The fox seems okay. So Gwen will meet us and we'll head into SAB. This is kind of fun because SAB's been closed for a bit anyway. So we'll go in and we'll meet up with Gwen. If it's warmer in here, I'm glad I wore my big sweater. Oh, we're going left. Okay. Okay, so we're going to come in and talk to Gwen about the meerkats. Hello. Hi. That's Kat. She's working on diet prep. Is Gwen around?
She'll be back.
Oh, okay. So she'll be back. That's awkward timing. But we'll look out here at the peafowl while we talk about how the other animals did. So I called up to African Savannah. Their animals seemed just fine. You have someone named Allison saying hi to you, Joe.
Hello, Dallas.
There you go. So you can see the peafowl don't care, and they're still trying to impress the ladies while we're up here. But Gwen's going to come out, and then we're going to give our meerkats some special enrichment. And the reason we're doing that is because the meerkats actually did feel a little bit unsettled with this morning's earthquake. If you're just tuning in, welcome. Love seeing you guys. A lot of us were, quarantined. Actually, I heard somebody interviewed today that said, let's not call it social distancing because we actually need the social closeness. Let's just call it physical distancing. So I like that better than social distancing because it makes me feel anxious to not have people around. So as soon as there's Gwen. Hello, this is Gwen. She works with our meerkats. And we've been chatting that most of the animals seemed to not really notice the earthquake, but you said your meerkats didn't love it.
They did. So I am one of the people that gets here quite early. All right, here we go. And so I was checking on all my animals like we do every morning, but for some reason the girls weren't waking up. And I just kind of thought, yeah, usually they're up and at 'em and hungry, and I'm just like, what is going on? And then I felt the earthquake.
Now, were you here in SAB?
I was right here.
Where are
yeah.
you? Can we walk and look at them?
The meerkats?
Yeah.
They're still hiding, actually.
Oh, okay.
But I think I'm going to be able to get them out. I'm just going to get some worms and stuff. So they're in this little hole right there. If you lift up the camera, maybe people might get a little glimpse of their fur. I'm not sure.
No, I don't see it. But you have worms you're going to toss in?
Yes.
Why don't we toss them in, see if you can warm out, and then I want you to tell me a little bit more about being in this old building during the earthquake. So a lot of our newer exhibits, of course, while she's doing that, we'll come over here and look at this little opossum. We'll see how he handled it. Isn't he cute? We haven't focused on him much yet, but we need to do some Facebook Lives and introduce you to him. We have people tuning in from Illinois. For all of our out-of-state friends, Utah had a 5.7 magnitude earthquake this morning. So as if virus pandemics weren't enough, we added to it. So they are having a rough day. So we have Gwen. She's going to spread some mealworms in there, and we're going to see if the meerkats come out. They've been very anxious. So here comes Gwen. We'll see if we can, oh look. There they are. I'm trying to talk very quiet. Faith, that's a great question. When Gwen comes back out, she did say she had a hard time getting them up, and that's unusual for them. And so I think that they did feel something was unsettling. And so I think they did sense it prior. But for those of you just tuning in, most of the animals at the zoo did not seem to notice it. But we take earthquake safety very seriously here. We do earthquake drills. In fact, we just had a big one. Oh look, they're gonna come out. Here they come. So because SAB is closed right now, this gives us a chance to get the meerkats out where they can stretch their legs a little bit more. I'm just gonna hold real still. Is that what we should do?
Yes, please.
Okay, we're gonna hold still and be quiet. Callie and Kendi.
Callie is the mom of Kendi.
Callie is the mom of Kendi. You guys probably can't hear Gwen, but we're trying to hold real still. Let's see if they'll come. So Callie is 7 and Kendi is 6. I'm trying to sneak so slowly over.
So out is Kendi. She is the more brave one.
Okay, so Kendi's out.
Just right there.
We're coming real slow so I can get the microphone by you.
Thank you.
Now, while we've been closed, have you been able to get them out?
Yes, I got them out just the other day. Unfortunately, I can't do it every day, but I try to do it every other day if I can,
So
or
that's
every
kind of
3
fun
days.
added enrichment for them,
Oh,
right?
for sure. Sand cats love it, and they also react to the sand cats. It's pretty funny. I don't know if I'll be able to get them out today, but I do have a video that I could send you of that, so we could post it.
So what we're trying to do every day at 11:30 is kind of bring the zoo to you, because everyone's trying to adhere all the guidelines and stay home. So
Yeah, it doesn't
this
look
is
like
a different set of Meerkats. Amber, tell us why these Meerkats aren't in the new Meerkat Manor by African Savannah.
So our girls, so we actually got in 2 other girls from another facility because our Meerkats, and the sand cats actually, are part of the SSP, which is the Species Survival Plan.
And that's kind of like massive computer dating for zoo animals. They tell us like who's a good match and who can breed.
Yeah, exactly. And it's definitely in place for like threatened and endangered species as well. So the 2 girls that we got in, we are hoping that they breed with our male. His name is Finch, and he is actually the dad of Kendi.
And Finch is up in Meerkat Manor.
Yes, he is. So Meerkat in the wild, usually females of different families do not live together. I don't know if anybody's actually seen the show Meerkat Manor, but it can turn out into like a little war zone out there.
Kind of like a quarantine situation at home.
Yes, exactly. So that's why these girls, they are back over here in the SAB and they're loving it. They get lots of attention and lots of fun enrichment.
Which bird is
that was the Gila woodpecker.
The woodpecker. See, we're learning all sorts of things here today. So a couple quick questions. Would you normally expect them to be more interested in the mealworms right now?
Yes, I would have them out.
Or the earthquake?
Nope, it's the earthquake.
Okay.
Yeah, I would have them out by sand cats right now, over on the other side of the hallway.
So they're just still not sure what's going on, just like the rest of us.
And they could be feeling aftershocks that we're not feeling.
They said to expect hundreds or thousands of aftershocks.
Yeah.
Now, for those of you tuning in from out of state, Hogle Zoo
Good job,
is
Kelly.
located several miles east of the epicenter of the earthquake, which is on the west side of the valley. We're sitting up on the east bed. Let's hear it.
That's not even close.
Do they respond like when they hear the bird chirp? They didn't seem to.
No, not really, but if I get them over the sand cats, they bark at the sand cats and they stand tall, kind of go into that threatening posture, even though, and I think they kind of mess with them a little because they know that they're safe because the sand cats are behind the glass. So sometimes
we're always tough when we know.
yeah.
Do you, somebody asked if you think smaller animals feel the earthquake more than bigger animals, like the elephants. Now, the elephants didn't budge. They didn't react to it at all.
You know, I don't have an answer to that, just because I know previous earthquakes elsewhere in the States, like the gorillas felt it. I remember that one that happened in DC a few years ago. A lot of the primates started acting up. So I don't actually know the answer to that. I will try to find out, though. That's interesting.
This is Callie and Kendi,
yes.
Right? Mom and daughter.
Mom and daughter.
JJH5 wants to know. So we're trying to get that. Should we back up more? Do you think it's me
I
out
don't
here?
know. I don't think they're going to come out anymore. Usually they'd be like at my feet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But
Well,
this is
they
pretty
did a
good
great
considering, the day that we've all had.
So if you guys are just tuning in, especially those of you from out of state, Utah had a 5.7 earthquake this morning. So we just wanted to tell people what some of our earthquake protocols are and how the animals are doing. Lori, Nora's fine. It's always the question. Nobody cares about any of the other animals, Gwen. What are we supposed to do? What are we supposed to do up here at Hogle Zoo when Nora's in? She's the only
Don't worry,
one.
Hope's good too.
I love when they stand up and look around like that.
Yeah.
So did we want to check in on any of the animals in here, Jeff?
We can go over to kind of a special treat for you guys. But we can go over and see Barton the Porcupine, North American Porcupine.
Barton the Porcupine
Yeah.
is new with this. Let's go check out. Thank you,
Yeah.
Gwen. Gwen is the Meerkat mama down here. Gwen, thank you so much. Okay, so let's sneak through SAB, and we'll go look out for Barton the Porcupine. And that's a great question. Jeff, do you know how many worms the meerkats eat a day?
It's based on weight, so
okay.
I'm not quite sure what it equates to. It would be really hard for the staff to actually count
How
them out,
many?
but
Yeah.
if it's like an ounce, it's a lot easier.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to go in here.
So we're going through SAB. We're going to find Barton the Porcupine. All of the animals are present and accounted for after this morning's earthquake. Most of the animals didn't react to it. So, okay. Oh, here's Barton. Oh my goodness. Can we turn on a alarm? Can I sneak it? Am I going to startle him?
Slow and steady.
Mel, what do I do? What do I do? Barton. Oh my heavens. I'm going to get, let's see, I want to get the mic a little bit closer to Mel. Barton has a great story. He just came to us. He's new here. Does he live down here in SAB now? Oh my heavens, is he the cutest?
Yeah, so Barton's going to be one of our ambassador animals, but currently he lives in the small animal building while his home is going to be built in our new ambassador animal building. And he does have a really fun story. He originally did come from the wild. Barton was found walking around a park by a family in Idaho, and they found that since he was meandering about, they found that he had really severe burns all over his body, and that was probably from just a brush fire that happened, and he got unfortunately very stuck in that. So he was then transferred to the Washington State University Veterinary Hospital, where they helped him get better, and he still has some scarring on his body. He's got...
So is there any we can see? Or it's
Yeah,
all
so
covered?
if you want, you can slowly come around, and I'll keep him busy here.
Okay.
You might be able to see on his rear end, he is missing a bunch of quills.
I'm moving
he's
so
got
slow. But they can't
Yep.
shoot these out, right?
They cannot shoot these out.
That's
no.
one of the misconceptions.
Yep, it's a huge misconception of porcupines. A lot of people think that they will shoot out their quills, but they are very lightly in his body, so that allows them to stick those into whatever is
So
trying
maybe
to
that
attack
spot
them.
is that spot?
Yeah, if you can
that's
see like
missing?
some skin there, he's got just some empty skin. It's just pink skin. And those quills won't ever grow back because that is scar tissue. And then we also think he has some damage potentially to his front paws. He does not like his front paws being touched. And he also has some scarring over his right eye. We estimate that he can't see all that well out of that eye. And then after
gosh, he's so
that, yeah.
He has much bigger claws than I.
Yep,
Wish I could get a good.
they're really good
I'm gonna
climbers.
clip this to your sweatshirt.
Yep, you're good, wherever
so
you'd
that
like.
both of our hands can be.
There you go. So those claws are for climbing. These guys do spend a lot of time on the ground, but then they will climb trees to find food and forage a little bit. So I'll see if I can get him to, there we go.
See those claws, but look at that. So they're climbers.
Yep, they're climbers. They can dig a little bit too. Most of their food in the wild is going to be plant matter like roots, leaves, twigs, shrubs, things like that. So they might have to dig a little bit to get to some of those root things. And then in the winter time, their diet completely changes because a lot of those things in the summer aren't available to them in the winter. So in the winter, you find them eating a lot of twigs and even bark off of trees. Target. Whoa,
So
what was
you
that?
went-
Target. Good.
So again, and a lot of people have seen us do these training demonstrations, but you ask him to touch his nose to that target, and that's when he gets his treats.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, and we can never force our animals to do anything that they don't want to do, but he's very good with his target. Target. And if he doesn't, that's okay.
It's okay.
Target.
Do you want treat?
Good.
There we go.
We'll give him one of these. Those are some of his
Now,
favorites.
did he react to the earthquake this morning? Did you?
Not that we know of. Jeannie here works with him and takes care of him here in the small animal building. And Jeannie, do you have anything you want to add?
He didn't react heavily this morning. I just found him. He brought himself lower, I think, and he was holding on to branches rather than sleeping. So he definitely noticed, but he wasn't displaying any behavior
Anything's
that
too
would freak him out
strange.
too much.
Yes, Melinda, all the animals are okay and intact. We start checking dangerous animal zones first. Of course, all the exhibits are designed with earthquakes in mind, and they are earthquake proof. But Barton hasn't been here very long, maybe a couple months here in SAB?
Only a few months, yep. He's only been here a short time, but he's lived in this area for quite a few years. We estimate that he's about 7 years old. Since he originally did come from the wild, we don't know exactly how old he is. Right before he came here to Hogle Zoo, he actually lived in Philadelphia at a science center where he was an ambassador animal as well. So he definitely is familiar with being around people. When we brought him here, this hallway is very echoey. I'm sure you can hear that on all of your devices. It's very echoey, and so when there's a lot of people in here, it can get really scary.
Yeah.
It gets really loud. So we've been just bringing him out and desensitizing him to large crowds and people. If any of you guys are watching and you've come to the small animal building, you may have helped partake in that. And we really appreciate that. We just like having people come out and
It's a good
hang
reminder,
out.
too, that when you're in here, the animals can hear through the glass,
Yep.
and it's very loud, and so that's why we ask you to kind of be quiet and respectful when you're in here. Somebody asked about other types of porcupines. There are different species. We have African
Yep.
crested up by the Meerkats.
Yep, and here in the small animal building, there are many different porcupine species. You can actually find a porcupine species on every continent except for Antarctica. So they are everywhere. This guy right here, the North American porcupine, is the second largest mammal that we have here in North America. The first is going to be rodent.
Yeah, I was like,
Not mammal, rodent. He's the second largest rodent that we have here in North America. The first is the beaver. But being that these guys are rodents, they have teeth that never stop growing. So a lot of his food items are kind of harder things that they're going to have because that's going to help grind down those teeth.
Does he have a favorite food? You're giving him lots of produce. Is that a favorite for him?
Yeah, anything that's really nice and fresh. These little rodent blocks that are made for rodents and they're good for grinding down their teeth, these are actually his favorite. He loves chewing on those and pretty much anything that we give him. Sweet potato is a good favorite, any type of little
He
fruits.
just holds on and nibbles.
Yep.
So they can't shoot their quills. How
Correct.
do they use them as a defense mechanism? Because I know that's like a number one misconception.
Yep, that is a huge misconception. A lot of people think that you can just, walk up to a porcupine and they're going to shoot out their quills at you. That's not true at all. Let's go this way. But he does have a lot of quills covering his entire body. Most porcupine species have about 30,000 quills on their entire body. And so with these guys, all of this on his back, they are hairs. So it's the same thing that your hair is made out of, which is keratin. And then if they feel threatened, they can actually make those quills stand up so that they look a lot bigger. And then if that doesn't work or scare that predator away, then we are going to have him, we don't have him, he does it. He will actually back up really quickly into that threat. And all of those quills are going to stick in whatever is behind him. And those quills actually have a little hook on the end, so they are barbed.
You can't really see that though, right?
No, you can't. It's very microscopic.
Yeah.
But they go into, so say you have a dog that gets hit by a porcupine, those quills are actually going to keep going into their nose or their body at about 1 millimeter per hour, I think it is. So they actually keep kind of going in. So if you have a dog that gets stuck by a porcupine, you never want to actually just pull those straight out because it's going to cause a lot more pain that it's, that's
Head
going
to the
be.
vet, is that your best
Yeah,
option?
you can go to the vet. Some people have had success pulling them out very gently and very carefully with pliers, but you do kind of have to know what you're doing for that. So bringing an animal to a vet and having them take a look, make sure that there's no infection or anything like that that's going to happen to them.
Oh, Barton the porcupine. Do you know how much he weighs?
He is, 25 pounds-ish?
Yeah, about 24.
Yeah.
25 pounds.
And generally they will be about 20 to 25 pounds in the wild, so he's
Look
at
him leaning.
a little bit larger size than what you would find. He is a little large.
Well, everyone says this is so nice and calming right now. So Melanie, thank you for just letting our minds drift.
Yep. It's very easy to sit here and just watch him eat all day. He is a very calm animal. He's got a great personality, and it is really nice to be able to still, come into work every day and work with these guys, and we still do training with them.
Wiry? I guess because we don't really touch the animals when you're doing training and stuff, where you try to kind of keep, you know, an appropriate distance.
Yep.
They look wiry to me. They don't look stiff.
They're not stiff. These little hairs here, they're a little more coarse. The quills themselves are very hard, but they are hollow on the inside, so they're pretty light. But yeah, I mean, overall, I would say he's pretty coarse. Again, it's made out of the same thing that your hair and fingernails are made out of.
And so do they grow back as he uses them as defense?
Yes, yep, he'll keep growing them. Like I mentioned before, they're really not in his body very deep, and that is so that when they do back up into something, they release very quickly. So every once in a while, he'll get up and he shakes like Fabio, and those quills kind of do go flying a little bit. So he will shed them. They shed their quills just like we do our hair, and they will grow back.
Clog the shower drain and all that good stuff.
Yep, exactly.
All right, I'm going to reach over slowly and grab that microphone from Mel. Thank you so much for letting us peek in here. So you guys, I'm afraid our, oh, do you have one? Oh, look what Jeff found. Let's see if we can show that. Let's see. Look what Jeff found. Jeff's doing I'm trying to rotate. Hold on, I've got too much going on. Hand that to me again. I almost stuck myself with it. So let's see if I can focus in on that. Look at that. That's the quill. So he just shed that?
Yep, it was in the exhibit. So.
And this is the end that would go into predator, right?
The dark end.
The dark end. Yeah. Okay. That's very cool.
And very sharp.
It is very sharp. I almost, see, I just stuck myself. So you guys, thanks so much for tuning in. The animals are fine. We all survived the earthquake. Most of them didn't even react to it. I think it's more zoo staff and keepers that are probably a little bit jittery this morning. So tune in. Again, we're going to try to bring you animals every single day at 11:30 while you're stuck at home with your kids. We want to bring the zoo to you. So stay safe out there. Thanks, friends.